Look, we're utilizing things like ChatGPT and Claude, and I always go through there and I'm like, hey, like, what's the best way to work this, that, and the other thing? I'm trying to learn. We're all trying to keep with the curve. Every year, probably the number one thing I say walking out of convention is, okay, what's the tweak that we can do differently? Not to say we got to reinvent or change everything, because that's not the answer either, but there's a tweak out there. There's somebody working here that's doing something a little different that you could do that they're making more money.
All right, welcome to True Talk. We got a special guest with us today, the all-time #1 producer with FFL. I think we could say in the entire country. I mean, that's probably fair. Maybe fact check that. But my man, Steve Giordano, how we doing, bro?
I'm doing amazing. Yourself?
Awesome, dude. Appreciate you coming up.
Thank you.
Came up on a warm day, you know. Not so much yesterday, but dude, I was looking at the numbers, Steve, and I don't even know if you know this yet, but let's back up. What year did you start with us?
2019.
2019. So you've been with us now, what's that, 8 years, 7 years? So
yeah.
8 years. And do you know that you just crossed 10 million sold in your life insurance career?
I didn't, but that's pretty wild.
That's insane, dude. That's crazy. It's a Hall of Fame agency, right? If you didn't, but 10 million sold. You've been our #1 producer 3-4 years in a row now.
6.
6 years. Okay, my bad. 6 years in a row. So the only year you weren't #1 was your first year.
Yes, which still annoys me.
Yep.
I was #2.
The #2. Hey, what are you gonna do, bro? But that was your first year, rookie year.
Do?
But it's a lot of life insurance. And why is that important? Because it's important because we're gonna talk about how you're doing that. And I think what a lot of people, their takeaway is gonna be like, I can't believe it's just that.
Yeah.
Meaning like a lot of what you do, a lot of other people do. But then there's these little things that you've added in that have really helped you go from, 4, 5, 6 to 1.4 million. And I think when we're done with this, I think some people are going to just be like, oh, shit, it's really just adding those things. And you said this before we got on, it's you either evolve in this business or you die. And we've gone through this as a company. Like when you started with us, we were 100% in-home. We weren't selling policies over the phone. And right now, what's your percentage in-home versus on the phone?
I've been 100% virtual for pretty much since January.
Since January.
Sure. Yeah.
And you're still on pace. I was looking at the numbers. You are right now around 350 and some change.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you almost hit Hall of Fame in, it's early May.
Yeah.
Crazy. So let's go back, though. Your background prior to selling life insurance, did you do any sales at all?
None. No. Total restaurants in corporate America.
Corporate America, managing restaurants, right?
Yeah.
Red Lobster was one of them.
Yeah.
Which they're back on the rise now, dude. They were in the tank for a little bit.
Yeah, saw that.
Those seafood boils will get you. I haven't been there since the seafood boil, but my kids love Red Lobster. But so why do I say that? Because people look at this sometimes and go, well, I've never done anything in sales, so it probably wouldn't work for me. Well, you never did anything for sales, and now you've outsold for the past 7-8 years everyone in our company. And we have a lot of people that have done sales before. So that your background doesn't matter. What matters is what you do when you get here.
100%.
So you were in the restaurant business for how long?
15 years.
15 years.
Yeah.
Making good money?
Yeah, 100K. So
100K.
Decent, not bad.
What were you putting in for hours, though? Like what did you have to put in to make that 100K?
Oh, 50 to 60 hours.
50 to 60 hours a week.
And working nights, holidays, weekends.
Yeah. You work when everyone else doesn't.
Correct.
Right? Because when we go to the restaurant, at night, weekends.
Exactly.
And so you were there. And you worked your way up, right? Management?
Yeah. Yeah, I ran multiple restaurants. I went up the corporate ladder, moved around different states, all that good stuff.
Got it. Did you enjoy it?
It paid the bills, and I always knew it was steady. Did I enjoy it? At some parts I did.
Yeah.
What I didn't enjoy, and really why I got into this, was because I didn't want other people to tell me what to do anymore. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, like there's more out there for you, and you need to start leading you and not having other people lead you.
Got it. Did you start looking into different industries before you found this? Did this one just land in your lap? Like, how did you end up in insurance?
I started looking, and there was a guy in a restaurant I was working at who was selling someone an IUL. Like, this is going back 11 years now.
Okay.
And I just, heard what he was talking about, had some interest in it, started, learning from him, bought an IUL from him that I still have. And then I'll never forget, I'm buying the IUL from him, and he's saying to me, look, you should do this. You'd be really good at sales, this and that, but there's no salary. It's 100% commission. We don't have leads. I'm like, that sounds amazing. You don't get a car. Like, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, how do I pay my bills?
Right.
I didn't have the capacity to understand entrepreneurship at the time, but that was the drip. And I always say this to people in recruiting, right? Like, look at social media. Like you drip that one time and then people see it and see it and see it and see it. That was 2015. I get into this now in essentially 18 when I started part-time.
Okay.
And obviously found, FFL and the process and the systems here. And then it became, okay, now it's time to make the move.
Got it.
And do your own thing.
Was this guy who was selling the IUL with us or just with a different?
No, it was a different company.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he just randomly shows up to your restaurant you're managing.
He's still trying to recruit me, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. He doesn't have enough money. But I tell him, keep trying.
Does he know that you sell more than probably the entire
he knows.
entity that he works at?
He knows. He's well aware.
Yeah. So he told you, he gave you the lowdown. Hey, no commit or straight commission, none of this other stuff. So you're like, dude, I'm not doing this. This is
I'm
crazy.
like, how would this even work? How do I pay my bills exactly?
Right. And at this point, you've been in corporate America for what, 10, 12 years?
Yeah, about that.
So you're accustomed to that.
Correct.
And this guy, but you do buy a policy from him.
Yeah, for sure.
Why'd you buy the policy?
I didn't have a retirement at my job at the time.
Yeah.
And when he started explaining it and I started doing some research, I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's a life insurance. I didn't have one. I don't have a retirement. I'm like, cool, let me throw $300 a month into this thing and I'm going to grow some money for myself for retirement.
So you saw the value in the product.
Yep.
And then this was 3 years before you even joined us.
Yep.
What made you make that jump 3 years later?
It was time because I worked as a food nutrition director in a hospital. Okay. I had went from.
Oh, so you left the restaurant business.
Yeah. So when I moved down to Florida, I was looking to get into something different. I wanted a little bit more 9 to 5, and the hospital system down in South Florida, they were looking for people that worked in restaurants to run food and nutrition in the actual facility. Yeah. So at the time, it was a perfect transition. I had a better quality of life when I moved to Florida. I was still making about the same money. Yeah. But the biggest problem with it was I knew it was only going to be for short term because there wasn't growth. There wasn't really anywhere to go. So I was like, okay, it's cool for now. And then that turned into me just getting so sick and tired of listening to people now that were running the hospital who hired me because I had expertise in hospitality, trying to now tell me what to do. I'm like, well, you hired me because I had the expertise. Right. You don't. And there was that disconnect. Yeah. And it was just one of those things. I was like, okay, like this ain't going to work. Right. And then that transitioned me right into this part-time. And then I was like, okay, it's time to make the move full-time.
Got it. How did you find us?
So Mark, who was here, he was a friend of mine. So Warm Market, he was dripping on it on social media, did a great job. We were talking about some stuff. And then he said, hey, like, I know you've been looking at this, but we have a lead system. And that was the big difference between the conversation I had with the guy who sold me IUL.
So he didn't talk about leads or anything.
They didn't have anything. Right. It was, hey, here's how we gather people, right? Yeah. Lists, this, friends, family, whatever. I'm like, bro, like, I don't have that many friends. So I'm a pretty, like, I have a close knit of people. Yeah. I don't think this is going to work for me in that realm. But then Mark's like, okay, well, we have like social media leads. We have, mailer leads. We have all these different avenues, right? To get people. I was like, okay, well, that makes a hell of a lot more sense.
Right. So you were just kind of watching this from afar for a minute.
For a while.
And I think it's a great point for people watching that, are you struggling in recruiting or apprehensive about it? It's not the instant gratification like sales, right? Like, we could stop this podcast right now. You can call your leads. You can make a sale. You'll be paid tomorrow. Yep. We can go out in public now and randomly recruit people for hours. The odds of any of those people doing anything slim to none, right? Yep. But to your point, if you continue to drip, the right person eventually is going to give you a call, make that jump over. So, people do this on social media all the time. I posted, 3 videos, Steven. They didn't get enough views, so I stopped. Yep. Like, dude, you did 3 videos. That's like half a day's worth of work.
Exactly.
Like, what did you do for the rest of the week and the rest of the month? And just keep drip. So you kept seeing this from afar. What part of what they were putting out, I guess, kept your attention? Was it, the numbers, the money, all of it? Like, what was the main thing where you're like, because you keep seeing it, right? Yeah. And then eventually you made that jump. What was the main thing that kind of
you'd see the money in the numbers, but that was never like the driving force. I was like, okay, cool. Like they clearly like they make money, what have you. And then you're trying to understand like what that looks like. I started digging deeper and asking questions around, okay, if so-and-so wrote this, what did it cost? What's the profitability? So I started asking those questions. And then the big thing for me was I'd see people and I'm like, well, they don't look any different than me. Like they look like they got a family, they got kids, they do this, they're regular people. Like, and why can't I do that? Like, why can't I be a leader to go figure out how to do this?
Yeah.
You know?
Got it. So you're still working at the hospital, and then what? You finally make the call to jump over. Did you leave clean? Did you start part-time?
I actually got fired.
You got fired?
It was the greatest thing ever.
Okay.
Because we had a COO at the time. We didn't click.
Yeah.
And she was literally trying to kind of micromanage me. And it just turned into one of those things, like she didn't want me to be there anymore.
Yeah.
And then was like, okay, we're going to move on. And I said this at convention. I'll never forget. I had started part-time like a month prior to this.
Okay.
So I kind of saw the writing on the wall a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget when it happened, and I knew it was going to happen. It happened. I got my car. I drove to a mall that was close. I had leads. And I'm like, I'm going to make my calls now. Yeah. And I'm going to make it happen. And like, something clicked where I'm like, yeah, that sucked. Yeah. But that's not going to like define me. I'm not going to worry about it. I had a mortgage. I had a wife. Like I had responsibilities.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm going to figure this out. Yeah. Come hell or high water. So I never stopped working. I didn't like go home and sulk for 3 days.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, like I have people to call here. I might have made 1 or 2 sales at that point.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't much.
And you were licensed for how long at that point?
I think I got my license in September, and that was like December.
Okay.
So.
But you were still working hospital full time. So
correct.
You're just kind of trying it out, sold a couple policies.
Yep.
Now, one of the things is for me, in order to get an agent going, you got to make sure that they get paid within a certain period of time, right?
Yeah,
like that is so key. And I don't know, and also multiple times.
Yeah.
Now, so you said you sold a couple. How much did that help your belief level in this? Even though you're part-time, you're still at the hospital, but you're messing around here selling a couple. Did that, I guess, motivate you more to make that jump?
Yeah, and I think maybe at that point, it might have been literally 2 sales because it was around December of that year. I remember that first sale, and ironically enough, the client just passed away.
Really?
Yeah, literally, whatever that is, 7 years ago. I think it was a husband. He passed away.
Your very first client?
Very first client.
Wow.
He passed away maybe 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
I had struggled in appointments at first.
Yeah.
And I'm in all these crazy situations and like in these bad neighborhoods. And I'm like, man, does this really work type of a thing? And then I go and I meet this super nice couple. I'll never forget. They made me blueberry muffins. I was like, this is amazing. Like, they were super nice. Guy was like 70 something years old, needed insurance, simple, might've been, $80 a month, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like I can do this.
Yeah.
And then I made another one. And I'm like, okay, like I can do this. I just have to bear down and figure out how people are doing it and understand the time that I got to invest.
Right.
Now,
you said you struggled early on, which I think people watching are probably like, how the hell does this guy struggle when he sells 10 million? But you struggled early on.
I struggle now.
What were the biggest things you struggled with early on?
Yeah, simple thing was I had a hospitality mindset.
Yeah.
So when you're in my restaurant, I'm trying to make sure you're happy. Right. When I sat with the first handful of clients, and I learned this quick, it didn't take long.
Yeah.
And I'm Mr. Nice and hospitality, and I'm not Mr. Direct. And let's take you to the point. This is about death. This is about life. This is about money. When I flipped the switch on that and started being direct with people, not nasty,
right,
but being direct and not being Mr. Nice Guy, but then on the back end after they bought it, then being Mr. Nice Guy and Mr. Hospitality and answering all your questions and calls and what have you, that was the switch that flipped.
Yeah.
And that made it where, okay, now I'm going to be a savage when I'm with you.
Yeah.
I am going to be direct with you. I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm trying to be the expert in the room and make sure that Mary gets a check when you die.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, like, we know you understand that, but you're giving me a hard time and acting like I don't understand it,
right,
but we're going to flip it.
Yeah.
That's when everything really changed for me.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, I remember I didn't come from a hospitality background, but I was raised, my dad was 20 years older than my mom. He was old school, baby boomer, military guy, police guy. And I was raised with this almost fear of like, respect your elders, right? So final expense, I struggled with. I could sit down with a mortgage company. Dude, Steve, come on, you really gonna leave your wife? Like, she's gonna be screwed if you don't have, but I'm sitting down and you're 70 years old. I'm like, Mr. Giordano.
Yeah,
it was just and I had to make that same switch. And, I remember one thing that, Sean said to me was, you're not respecting your elders by not being direct.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're not being Mr. Customer Service by not being direct's not being mean or rude.
Right.
It's actually, you probably care more about the person when you're being direct. It's like a mental switch that I think a lot of people have to make. Like, we're not in the customer service business.
Right.
We are in sales. But what we sell, if like you said, your first client just passed away. Imagine if you didn't help them out.
Yep.
They'd have no insurance right now.
100%.
A few months ago, family would have would have been in a bad fund. And now because you were able to make that sale, the one thing they didn't have to worry about was the money.
That's it.
And it's that switch of don't think, I'm just being nice. I don't want to be disrespectful, rude. The people you're meeting with filled out something online, a form, called in. They asked you to call them about life insurance. I'm not being rude if I go, hey, Steve, you told me that your wife would not be able to afford this house if you didn't have this. So what changed in the last 5 minutes? Nothing. Okay, so you have nothing now. Like, that's not rude. But I think that's a switch a lot of people need to make. So you overcame that. And let's talk about your first 90 days. So you get fired from the hospital.
Yep.
You drive to the mall. Why'd you go to the mall?
It was the closest thing to me that I could sit down and call somebody.
Okay.
Like, literally. I'm like, the mall's right across the street. I'm just going to go sit there.
Yeah. So you pull up, you're making some phone calls.
So,
how were you on the phone early on?
I was okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't great.
Okay.
I think I was good at transition, but I wasn't always good at like saying the right things off the bat. And then it was one of those things, like you just repetition. And I also think when you have your back truly against the wall, you'll get good fast.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, you just will, because you don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And also you will make mistakes. And I made plenty of them. I still do.
Yeah.
And you're just able to really just roll with them,
Absolutely.
So I'd say my first 90 days, I did 21 grand my first month.
Okay.
And that was good. I did 21, 34, 57.
Yeah.
So the two things I would attest to that would be, one, obviously the time put into it and the work ethic. Two, I believed in leads, and I was able, and I didn't have a ton of money at the time. I had some, but not a ton. I believed in just stacking the deck in the leads. And I started really honing in and learning like businesses and how businesses worked. And I just always equated it to the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, if we buy liquor and food and we spend X amount and our profit margin is this based on the work that we do in selling the product, cool, we make this much money. Right. I'm like, how can I think of this any different than that?
Yeah.
And I just, it took away my fear, because I'm like, okay, like I know I'm going to put in the time, I'm going to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
If I spend the money and I truly believe in the industry, I'm going to be fine.
Right.
And I think that helped me in the first 90 days.
Yeah. And I think that's when people grasp that concept of leads, you're going to speed up that learning curve. And you see, unfortunately, times where agents struggle with it. And it's like, dude, your struggle is not your pitch. It's not what you're saying on the phone. You don't have enough people to talk to.
Yep. You're
calling the same people that told you no 4 weeks in a row. By all means, keep calling them, but we need new leads every single week. It's an investment. It's, I've heard so many analogies over there. It's the gas in your car, right? Yep. You don't put gas in your car, you ain't going to go that far. Eventually, you're going to run out, and then you're going to be stranded somewhere.
Correct.
Right? And you're like, well, that's stupid. Yeah, it's just as dumb as not buying leads every single week.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have you're building a team now. You guys are on track to hit Agency Hall of Fame, right?
Yep.
How many times have you had an agent that gets their first paycheck and then wants to go pay off their credit card, wants to go pay off all this debt? It's like, we want you to, but let's get some momentum first, right?
That's why the first thing I talk about to people when I recruit, before I talk about like selling, and obviously people are like, well, what do you do? What do you say? I'm like, pump the brakes. That doesn't matter.
Right.
The first thing that matters is, do you understand that this is a business that needs to be funded correctly? Let's go through that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to do that? Are we using cash? Are we using credit? Are we using business loan? Let's structure your business. Then I'll teach you how to sell.
Sure.
The selling part's easy.
Right.
Like, but can you fund the business and manage your money? That's where, honestly, I think most agents fail.
Absolutely.
That's number one to me.
100%. So lead strategy, let's talk about what your lead strategy is right now. Because I don't think there's a person watching that wouldn't want to sell over $1 million in a year.
Yeah,
right?
no doubt.
Realistically, how many hours, forget about the recruiting, the sales itself, how many hours are you putting into sales in a week right now?
It's actually hard to quantify. So like, all right, let's look at it this way. So let's say Monday to Saturday, I'm probably making calls, let's call it 9 to 6 or 7. Now, in that, my schedule's, all over the place. Like I have agent calls in there and different trainings and what have you. I mean, so whatever that is, let's call it 45 to 50 hours. 50 hours, yeah.
So a full-time job.
Full-time job.
Yeah.
And again, there's a lot, we're doing a lot of different things, especially when you're selling and building, you're wearing different hats. So it's probably about that in just phone calls, running appointments, follow-ups with clients, what have you. It's probably around
But
that.
it's not 100 hours a week. Like I think some people look, oh my God, he must be working, from the time he wakes up to the time he falls asleep.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you had to put in a lot of work on the front end to get good, but the point is it's not a 100-hour a week job. It's okay. It's a full-time job. It's 40 hours a week on the phone.
And again, we make phone calls and text messages. Like that's the thing like that blows my mind. I say it all the time. I feel since I got out of the field with less driving, right? Like I feel better. I feel like I have more energy. Like I'm not driving all over the place and I'm making phone calls. Like, whereas I used to be running around a restaurant all day long, working nights and weekends, being on weird sleeping patterns, right? Because you're not working the same schedule all the time.
Right.
I'm like, this is a blessing and a half,
Yeah,
even though there's stresses that obviously come along with it.
Sure. So 40 to 50 hours a week. Let's talk about the lead strategy because I'm sure that's a lot of people's question is like, well, I wonder what leads he's getting. Like I remember back in the day when we would dial on the weekends. So Friday, Saturday we would dial. Saturday we dial for half a day, then go out in the field. And I was always really good on the phone. And Sean would have the new agents sit down, listen to me, or the older agents that struggled because they're like, well, how are these guys doing it? I would sit down, dude. I would book 10 out of 12 leads. Yeah. And most of the questions I would get would be, what kind of leads are those? Yeah. Like, dude, are you not paying attention? Like, give me your leads. Give me them. Then I book that. Well, how you do? Because you're focused on the wrong things.
Yep.
But let's talk about the lead strategy. What type of leads are you getting right now? How much are you spending a week on leads?
I'm probably around 2,500 to 3,000.
Okay.
Yeah. And maybe even a little bit more some weeks. Now, one thing I'll tell you in my lead strategy now as an agency owner is there are times I might even go higher because I'm going to work through them. But then what I do is I cascade stuff out to my team.
Right.
So I like to overwhelm myself, make my calls, have my AIs, have my different things work for me.
Yeah.
And then as I go through ones that I don't reach or I've texted multiple times and they didn't answer in my drip, I shoot out to my agents.
Got it.
So now they're making sales on that. So it's a bigger picture lead strategy than it is if I was just a main producer. But I use 2 different vendors for IUL trucker leads. Okay. Right. Which the trucker thing is obviously a big thing now.
Yeah.
So these are truckers who are looking for retirement or they have an old retirement they're looking to roll. So I have that system. And in that system, the companies that I work with, they go through the ad. They can then book directly on my calendar for a call. Yeah. And I'll walk into some days, 4, 5, 6 appointments, whatever it is. And then they get dripped on top of it. So if they didn't book the first time, they continue to get like an AI drip, videos, texts, what have you. One of the companies even actually will call transfer them to me. Okay. If somebody's like ready to go.
So all the drip, the AI stuff, that the vendors are doing that.
The vendors are doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's part of that.
Yeah.
Then, and what I tell people is the real hack and the cheat code is let that stuff work for you, but still work hard. So meaning like I still pound the phone like I always have.
You're not just waiting for these.
No.
Yeah.
Because, and I'll give you an example. If I have those two vendors, which are the top two that I have, and then I have my mortgage mailers that I've had forever.
Yeah.
Those are like my three. So let's say now I sit down and I walk into a day, I have 4 or 5 or 6 appointments. Let's say I probably got 30 leads from those vendors.
Yeah.
I go through and I run the ads every day. So the weekend rolls around, I walk into a Monday, I have 40, 50 leads. I'm going through, I'm pounding the phone 3-4 times in a row.
Yeah.
If they don't answer, they're getting a text from me based on, hey, you saw the ad for the IUL. Here's a video that goes over it. Here's my calendar link. So they get it directly from like me and my number.
Yeah.
They're getting it in the drip for like 10 to 14 days. And I have booked appointments. So what happens, right? I run those appointments. Let's say half of them show up. Let's say I sell half of them. As I'm dialing, I book 5 or 6 for either that day or the next day. Then I bounce to my mortgage ones that I don't have a drip on. I call them direct, book the appointment.
These are old school direct mail.
These are old school direct mail that I've had forever. The only difference is it used to just be they would mail it, but now you can do, like, I have a QR code. They can go in, they can fill their stuff, or they can call me.
So you get a call and leave, but it's still a piece of mail.
It's still a piece of mail. So now I go through those. I book some appointments from those. And then the last thing I do is I go through my book of business. Obviously, 10 million in production. I got a lot of clients and a lot of lapses, right? So I'm going through every day in a list. I probably always have 10 deep.
Yeah.
Oh, Bob had his policy. I just called the guy this morning. He had a policy for 5 years. It lapsed. He had a banking issue. I went through and looked and called him. Oh man, we got to redo that. So now when you look through your week and you sell, last week I sold 36 grand.
Yeah.
I had X amount from the new leads. I had X amount from the booked appointments. I had X amount from lapsed, and lo and behold, everything works a little and it all adds up.
Right.
But the key is you work the AI and you utilize technology, but where agents screw up is they're just like, well, I have AI. I'm going to sit back. And
Don't just
they're,
do that.
They're going to come in like, no. So you work that, and then you work the phones the way we always did, and then bang. That's the nirvana of all of it.
So that's how you sell over $1 million in a year.
And then you do it all day.
Yeah. And again, it's not 100 hours. It's 40, 50.
No.
But there's no dead time.
Correct.
So I think when a lot of people say they work 40 hours a week, they work like 10.
Yes.
They may be in the office 40 hours, maybe in the office 60 hours a week. But the actual time on the phone, like going through the carrier websites, that ain't work. Pay someone to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Once you're selling consistently, you shouldn't be going into carrier websites, looking at your pen, looking at calling. Pay someone to do that. That's admin work.
Yeah.
Well, you should be on the phone doing, whatever, $500 hour work, whatever you want to call it. One of the things you mentioned that I know a lot of people aren't doing is managing their book of business.
Yeah.
There's so much money left on the table. There's so many clients that they may not even know their policy lapsed. Like, how many times have you called someone and they were surprised that their policy lapsed?
100%.
You were the first one to tell them.
Yep.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's this ambivalence. There's this hesitation because we think, oh, man, they canceled. They don't want it. Sometimes that's true.
Yeah.
But Steve, if you called 10 people that lapsed, how many of them actually didn't want it, and how many on average had some, new bank account, whatever, like draft date, like what percentage actually canceled because they didn't want the policy?
It's probably like half or even a little less than half. It's usually, and again, what does it usually come down to? There was a banking issue. They needed something a little cheaper, something in their life changed. Like, okay, cool. Like, we'll do something cheaper.
Right.
And then what do you do from there? You have an opportunity to talk about their spouse that doesn't have one, their kids that don't have one, the annuity that they now need. Like, that's where the money is found. And that's why it's comical when people don't buy leads.
Right.
I'm making money on leads that I bought 7 years ago.
Correct.
Right. My team, if now I send that stuff out to my team and I have a new agent, I'm like, hey, go call this list I had from whatever. Like, you work with me, guess what? I got a lot of leads for you to call.
Yeah.
A lot. That I honestly don't even have the time to go through all of them. That's how you have to look at the business.
Right. Absolutely. So when did you start doing all this drip marketing, this AI stuff?
Yeah. Probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And look, we're utilizing things like ChatGPT and Claude, and I always go through there and I'm like, hey, like, what's the best way to work this, that, and the other thing? I'm trying to learn. We're all trying to keep with the curve.
Yeah.
Because what happens, like, we talk to agents that 7, 6, 5 years ago, they're like, man, like, I did this and this worked. I'm like, yeah, well, during COVID, I ran around and wrote 1.3 million because everybody was home.
Right.
But it's not COVID anymore.
Correct.
We need to change.
Yep.
And I think that's a big thing for agents and agencies. Like, every year, probably the number one thing I say walking out of convention is, okay, what's the tweak that we can do differently? Not to say we got to reinvent or change everything, because that's not the answer either. But there's a tweak out there. There's somebody working here that's doing something a little different that you could do that they're making more money.
Absolutely. And I'm a big fan of AI in general. I don't think that there's probably some, but most jobs in this world could be improved, could be more efficient, adding AI in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, for sure.
So for the agent who's not doing this, now I know you started a couple years ago, it's evolved, but kind of give me a base level. Like, if I'm not using AI at all right now, I'm buying leads from a few vendors, I'm selling a decent amount, where do I start? Like, where did you start with AI?
I got into ChatGPT and kind of learning about that and just trying to get educated on things, right? Okay. So I'll give you one example. I've had some clients cancel term policies, right? Oh, no, I'm sorry. They'll cancel IULs for term policies.
Okay.
Recently, I did this. I went into ChatGPT and I asked it, what's the percentage of term policies that pay out? And it was like 1%. So now I take the screenshot and I sent it to this guy who doesn't want to move out of his term into an IUL. And he's like, oh, wow, that's kind of nuts. So it doesn't grow any money. 1% of them pay. I'm like, well, you didn't believe me when I told you.
Right.
But here's some statistics that are visual.
Yeah.
So that was like one thing. Another big thing with it is social media. So you mentioned earlier how, people, they get on social media and they're like, oh, I posted 3 things and like, I didn't build a $5 million a month agency yet.
Correct.
And I'm like, let me utilize this to run different reels and get different ideas and ask it, hey, what's the best way to go viral in the insurance space? I just had one reel I did and it was off a convention. It had like 60,000 views. Yeah. And it garnered a lot of realtors, right? I had a ton of people that are in real estate, love it, share it, whatever. So what did I then do? I then went to ChatGPT and I said, okay, give me a viral carousel that will focus on finding realtors to work with me. Yeah. To add insurance license to their real estate. And then bang, now that goes out. So I'm just trying to ask you questions to make me smarter and learn at the end of the day. Yeah.
And dude, if you're not using it, you're going to get left behind.
For sure.
You're going to get left behind, dude. You can use it. You can improve your schedule on there. You can put your numbers in each week and it can keep track. There's so many things that it can do for you. And it's all, get the pro. It's like $20 a month. Yeah, it's worth it.
For sure.
It's definitely worth
100%.
it. And they're all, they all have their own new, you mentioned Claude, there's Gemini, there's Chat. They all have their own little nuance, but it's there. It's a tool. You're stupid if you're not using it.
100%.
So let's talk about what exactly, or actually let's talk about your transition. Because last time we had you up, you were still kind of not 50-50, but you were still going in the home a little bit, right?
Yeah,
like local stuff. I think maybe it was just a mortgage or something.
Yeah, mortgage, yeah.
Why did you move 100% out of the field recently?
It was tough because like
I know you like sitting down with clients.
I hate driving around. Like I don't like that. I live in South Florida. Miami's crazy. Like you're in all these crazy. But I always loved, and also the demographic down there. Like you'll meet with lots of people, Hispanic, Haitian, where the language barrier is tough. But if I sit with you, and this is why it took me a while to transition, because I was like, look, I don't know if there's going to be a large percentage of those leads that I'm not going to be able to lock down, because if I'm talking to you, we can work through the language barrier a little bit and you'll like me.
Sure.
And I'll sell you. But if it's over the phone, it's going to be a little harder. But then I'm like, all right, well, let me take that percentage out of the mix and think of the bigger picture and all the ones that I can sell and how I can sell them quicker and get to the next call. So that for me was kind of the deciding factor. And then obviously there's more time for calls with agents,
Sure.
just being on the phone with them and what have you. So it was kind of a tough transition,
Yeah.
I guess, mentally. My numbers never moved. Like, it wasn't like all of a sudden I sold less.
Right.
So that wasn't a problem, but it was just the adjustment. And obviously, we got comfortable and now you're uncomfortable.
Sure. What about closing percentage?
Yeah.
Did you close more in the home?
It's funny. I don't know the exact numbers, but I don't think it's that far off.
Okay.
It might be a little bit off,
Yeah.
but it's honestly,
But not enough to justify driving around for hours.
No, what I learned to do was in an in-home, eye contact was big with me.
Mhm.
Connection is big with me. Authority, how I present myself. I learned just how to do that through the phone
Okay.
with voice. One of the biggest things I tell agents when you get somebody on the phone, you got to build credibility, because the first thing they think when it's just somebody on the phone is like, oh, this is a scam.
Right.
So I'm right out the gate letting you know who I am, what I do, states I'm licensed in, how many carriers I work with. I do every type of insurance you can think of. So I give like this good kind of little opening monologue that's not too long, but it's direct, it's to the point, and it lets you know like this isn't my first rodeo.
Right.
And that kind of sets the stage. And then as you go through the call, where your voice is at, how calm you are, how confident you are in what you say, and then how you're just literally bringing the answer to their problem to them, that's helped me transition.
Yeah.
Because you got to counteract for I can't look you in the eye.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Talk to me about that opening monologue, as you called it. Like, how do you open your appointment? Because I it's kind of like we never sold over the phone, but we booked all our appointments over the phone. And Sean always tells us that the initial contact is the most important part of that phone call. If I called you up and go, "Can I speak to Mr. Giordano?" You think I'm a salesman. If I go, "Hey, is it Steve?" You're like, "Who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
Do I know him?" So talk to me about that opening and what you have found that really works, in that intro.
Yeah. So when you've booked an appointment and I'm calling you, I'm like, "Hey, Bob, great to meet you. My name's Steve. I'm a licensed agent in 50 states. I work with 30 companies. I do all type of life, retirement, pretty much anything insurance you can think of."
Yeah.
And then what I always go to is, tell me based on what you saw in the ad, what caught your eye. We'll go through the options and see what would make the best sense for you.
Got it.
And then I want to gauge from them, what did they see? What do they know? What do they not know? And it's like 80% of people, they saw one thing in an ad. It's usually like for IUL, it'll usually be tax-free retirement. Like that's always like the key verbiage you hear. And then you have 20% who are a little bit more educated. They've now seen multiple things, and you know how the algorithm works. When you click one thing, what happens?
Oh yeah, you
then you'll see
IUL
you'll see the IUL is the greatest thing. The IUL sucks. The IUL is this. The IUL is that. You have the 20% of people who have that kind of little bit more of an education.
Yeah.
Once I know that, now I know kind of where I'm going to take the call. The 80% is going to be far more of an educational. The 20% is going to be more, they have some negative thoughts about it, or they have some preconceived notions, and I need to redirect the education a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of open things up to start.
Because you want that right off the bat. It's like, everyone's objection questions. I mean, new agents always have that question, right? How do I handle these objections? Well, if you actually take care of them in the beginning, if you invite them, like you're almost inviting the objection. Hey, what'd you say about the ad? Well, the ones that loved it will tell you, and the ones that saw negativity or haven't, they're going to tell you right then and there. But you want that then and there. You don't want that when, you're starting going in the application like, well, wait a minute, I heard IULs are bad because of this. Now you're backtracking.
Yeah.
It's like, and I understand especially from a brand new agent standpoint, you're almost intimidated by the potential of having an objection. So you try to avoid it at all costs by not asking those questions.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, it ends up biting you in the ass, so you're getting that out right in the beginning. And so you're not sending license or anything like that.
I don't know.
You don't.
I don't. Some people do, and I think it's a great thing to do.
Hey, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's so many different ways to do this,
for
right?
Sure.
That works. Either way, it still is kind of solving the same issue. Whether I lead with my license or lead with that statement, they now understand who you are, why you're calling, and they understand your credentials.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm licensed in 50 states. I will represent all these different carriers. I do everything. That way, you've removed so many objections in that. Now, what about the expectation, setting the expectation of what's going to happen on the appointment? When does that happen?
Early on, because in that statement, I always say, tell me what you saw, and then we're going to go through the options, see what makes the best sense for you, and get it set up.
Yeah.
Like I always say something along those lines. I'm always dropping, we're doing it.
Right.
In one way, shape, or form. And you do it in multiple times throughout a call because you're subliminally letting them know, like, and you get the people, I want to get information. Oh, cool. Like, great. Well, I'm not the guy for information.
Right.
Like, I'm the guy to get you covered. I'm going to give you all the information.
Sure.
And then some.
Yeah. So if you get that early on, yeah, no, I hear that, Steve. I just was looking for some information.
It's the first thing you have to do is not like acknowledge it in the sense of like be deflated. Right. Like, I'm like, awesome. Well, we're going to see if you qualify for it. So I always throw that out.
Yeah.
And then the first thing that I always get into, or I should say the next thing, is the IUL is an insurance that you use to grow money for tax-free retirement.
Yeah.
So your health is paramount. Have you ever had anything major, heart attack, stroke, or cancer? Anything big in your health history? That's how I roll.
Yeah.
And here's why. If you want to have a lot of calls and you want to make a lot of sales and you get on an IUL call and you give them 20 minutes of what an IUL does, and then you ask them their health, you just wasted 20 minutes on every call that doesn't qualify.
Right.
So I get it right out the way. And if there's something that obviously doesn't, then I know I'm pivoting to try and ask them about their regular life insurances, annuity, whatever.
Right.
And if it's nothing, cool. We get off the phone and we move on to the next.
Yeah. That's the key too, is, and it goes back to having enough leads, right? If you don't have enough leads, if you don't have enough appointments, the odds of you cutting the bait, when you realize it isn't going, we've all been there. I remember early on being in a house, sometime hour and a half, 2 hours. I didn't make a sale. I made friends. I had dinner. They gave me a tour of the house. Didn't make a sale.
Yeah.
I should have cut bait a long time ago. And that's something that I think you learn by, the more you do, the more people you meet with. But you could waste your time with one client and then your next 2 or 3 appointments you don't get to, and you don't make a sale, you don't help the family. You got to know when it's not a go.
Yep.
So from there, right, you've gone through those potential objections, you set everything up, and walk me through how you're finding the options. Like, because I believe to this day, there's only 2 reasons why a client's not going to buy. They don't like or trust you, or you made it too expensive.
Yep.
I don't believe in anything else.
Yeah.
I don't believe, well, they just don't really care about insurance. Well, they wouldn't have filled out you wouldn't be meeting with them.
They
right?
care.
So those 2 things. So walk me through that budget piece, because that's especially nowadays, right? I mean,
huge.
It's economy is where it's at. Not everybody's selling 10 million and making what we're making. And so that is a big piece of this. If you don't make this product affordable, no matter how much they want it, they're not going to buy it. How are you doing that without just going, hey, how much can you afford?
Right. So, going through that health, doing that, explaining a little bit of obviously what it does. And then when I get into budget, I ask a couple things. I asked, do you spend money on regular life insurance currently? Because my goal with people is I want to find, you all make money, right? Everybody makes money. Some make a lot, some make a little.
Correct.
I want to know what you're spending it on. So, okay, what do you spend in life insurance? Do you have any? What are you putting into a 401k now or a retirement? What does that look like, dollar and cents? What do you bring in a month, I ask? And then what do you save a month after paying all your bills? And I get whatever I get. And then if it's like nothing and we were spending $75 on term and I'm putting $200 into my 401, I can reallocate money from that here.
Yeah.
Right. And help them understand, well, your term doesn't grow any money. Your 401, you're going to pay tax on the money. It's, this, that, and the other, all the negatives of that, and try to use that money, getting the agreement on what they save. But then I think the key is this: when you sell life insurance, it's, hey, let me read you 3 quotes based on what your budget was. When you sell IUL, it's you determine, Bob, what you want to put into this.
Right.
So if you tell me that you save $300 a month, of that 300, how much are you comfortable putting into this a month? And then knowing, again, I have in my back pocket that little money they spend on insurance and 401.
Yeah.
So, and people are conditioned when they buy insurance, he's going to give me some quotes and I'm only going to buy it if it's in my budget.
Yeah.
But if I'm telling you, like, tell me what you want to spend, Bob. Like, I don't care if it's 100. And they'll say to me, like, sometimes it's, what do you think's best? And I go, what you can afford.
Right.
And I always say we can always add,
Yep.
but we can't go backwards. So we got to find a number that you're good at, that you can keep and maintain, and then down the road we can always add. Cool.
Mhm.
So you're not. So the pressure is gone.
Right.
There's no like, oh, he just told me it's $237 a month. It's no, Bob. You want to put in 100, and I'll say it. I have clients that put in 100 a month. I have clients that put 10,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like, you tell me where you want to be.
Right.
And then they give you a number.
Because that's most clients' biggest fear, right? Is how much is this going to cost me?
Yeah.
And the way you do that is it feels very customer service, right? Like, you tell me, here's our options. You tell it, but you've already got their budget. I like how you said that too. Here, I'm going to read 3 quotes based off of your budget.
Yep. Correct.
So now you're removing that whole, I can't afford it, but you got to do that work on the front end, right?
Mm-hmm.
How long is your average appointment?
Like 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
It's people, I do it in 20. Well, I bet you your placement and persistency isn't what Steve's is. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
You could sell it in 20 minutes, but you're not making that great of a connection. You're not solidifying the value. You're not really digging into their budget in 20 minutes.
Yeah, there's a fine line between like, hey, it's too long and hey, it's too short.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And it's probably at that 35, 40 minute mark.
Yeah. And that was the same when we were in home. Like 30, 40 minutes was great.
Yeah.
You're in there an hour, that's dangerous.
Yes.
You're in there 20 minutes, that's also dangerous.
Yeah.
I sold a lot of policies in 20 minutes. Those are probably most of the ones that fell off the books.
For sure.
The one, how much is it? I'll write a check right now. You're like, and that's a big thing too, is going through all of the steps, even when it feels like a laydown.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? Like if you call the client and before you even get into your intro, they go, yeah, man, I definitely want it. Just tell me how much it's going to be and I'll do it right now.
Right. And then you stop your process.
Right.
Worst thing you could ever do.
You still got to go through everything you normally go through.
More of those people won't buy than the ones that you just run a regular appointment.
Absolutely.
You know?
They're either not going to buy or they're going to buy and they'll cancel on Tuesday. You know?
For sure.
Because it was too easy.
Mm-hmm.
If it's too easy, understand that you still need to do your whole process. You still need to go through the budget. Now, the other piece, right? We talked about the credibility. We talked about finding the budget or finding the money. The health stuff is very important, but also the value. Even though they filled it out, even though they read about it and they saw all these ads, you still got to solidify the value to that client, right?
Yeah,
like
100%.
We talk about the client's why. It's not always the same. It's always pretty. I mean, beneficial, but where in your process do you do that and how do you do that?
Great question. So one of the things, and I'll use truckers as an example.
Yeah.
One of the things I always ask truckers is, do you work for a company or do you own your company? Because if they, and I have a mix, right? If they own their company and I'm getting you an IUL, one of the things I'm telling you is obviously about the living benefits. And I think a lot of people, when they sell IULs, you always get the question asked like, well, do you sell it on max cash value or do you sell it on more insurance or the mix or whatever? I'm like, there isn't a cut and dry answer to that.
Right.
The answer is the person I talk to when I analyze their situation, we're going to dictate based on their needs, which one makes more sense. You're going to get plenty of IULs that call up. I have zero interest in the insurance and I just want to max fund it. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't care. Then you're going to have others that they are conditioned when they buy insurance to spend this number low for this number high.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to educate them on what that means, what it looks like in the growth of their money versus the insurance.
Right.
So when you're going through, like, like I said, with a trucker, I'm big on the living benefits because I say it protects your retirement. Now, let's say they have a current one. Let's say they have a 401k.
Mm-hmm.
And now I got you a $200,000 living benefit on your IUL. I tell them that protects that retirement because without that part of the insurance, if you have a catastrophe, where are you getting money?
Right.
Out of that retirement, or you're going to sell your house.
Sure.
Right. Where else are people getting money?
Right.
That's pretty much it.
Yep.
And then they start to understand, oh, okay, that makes sense. Maybe I do need X amount of the insurance in this or whatever. But you're giving the value throughout that appointment around what they're going to do with the money. I hate when agents sell on, here's a quote for this. That's like generic.
Right.
It's black. It's just, that doesn't move the needle.
No.
I try to tell you, you're going to get this. And then if this happens, that money's going to go here to do this. I'm connecting dots for people. That creates value. That gets people to buy.
Yeah. It's an emotional sale. And we try to approach it with logic too often, right? You pay this, you'll get this. Yeah, but figure out why they inquired about this in the first place. Because yeah, you get a lot of leads coming in, a lot of clients reaching out, but how many people saw that ad that didn't click on it?
Yeah.
So you're dealing with a small percentage of the population that ad, that mailer, something triggered something in the client. I mean, how often do you meet with someone that they either had a health scare, someone they knew passed away, right? It's not just, I was just bored, Steve, and figured I'd get life insurance now that I'm 40. No, it's usually my brother just passed or I had this health scare, but you got to get that information out of them, right? So are you asking that?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think you have to hit the emotional button. And again, you hit on an IUL, you hit the emotional button on loss. And this is one of the things I've talked about in the last month and a half. The market went down, if you do the research, again, ChatGPT, it was like 6 or 7% in the month of, was it March? And now I'm talking to people that have a 401, they have this, that, the other thing. And I'm like, yeah, so how did your, retirement look in March? Oh, it got killed.
Right.
Like, yeah, the market's been down like 6, 7%.
Yeah.
Like, there you go. There's a sale. Like,
absolutely.
We got to do something. We either got to move the money or do something that's going to be protected.
Right. Speaking of move the money, you mentioned earlier that you're selling a lot of annuities now.
Yeah.
And you did early on, right?
Yeah, I did a few, but I wasn't as good at it. And I think it's funny, like when I look at me and challenging myself, I have one goal this year. And we're either going to hit it or we're not. And it's either we make it happen or we fail. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm going to be a Hall of Fame, life producer, which I already am for the year. We're going to do it as an agency, which is number one to me of all of it. Yeah. And I'm going to be an annuity Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And I think I'd be the only one to do that. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. That's my goal.
Before this year, what's the most annuities you sold in a year?
This past year, I did $500,000. I think another year I did 300.
Okay.
Three something.
Got it. And where are you at this year so far?
So far, I should be by the time this drops at about 5.
Okay. So you're already above what you've done.
Yeah.
What have you changed to incorporate the annuities?
I'm just asking more questions about it.
Yeah.
And I'm becoming more educated about it and I'm becoming more passionate about it. And through my education and passion, I talk about it more.
Okay.
And it's what I kind of tell people in all of this, right?
Yeah.
If you're not passionate about what you do and you don't talk about it a lot, you're never going to transfer that energy to people.
Right.
And if you don't transfer the energy to people, it's like anything else. Like you get what you focus on, right? So I'm like, I am going to talk about this more and sell more, even if I know to me, it's more frustrating because obviously like you'll have enough conversation about life insurance and you'll sell a good amount of it because it's easier to sell.
Right.
Annuities are a little bit more, not that they're hard, but they're a little bit more.
More steps. Yeah.
A little bit more steps, more conversation,
Sure.
what have you, but sticking to that.
Yeah.
And getting passionate about it.
Got it. What are you doing the traditional, do you have anything that acts like life insurance? Like what questions are you asking and where in the appointment are you asking?
I asked that in, I guess in the middle of like that financial inventory, but early on in an IUL or even in a mortgage and anything, I'm asking like, what are you doing and what is your retirement looking like?
Yeah.
What has it looked like? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Obviously the whole stuff with the market. I'm honing in on a little bit more of the fear around it.
Yeah.
And I'm finding more people that are fearful about it.
Right.
So that's helping me just find more and then incorporate.
Got it. Love it. Well, I think you will be the first to do all three. I will have to check, but there aren't many.
That's the goal, bro.
Yeah.
That's it.
If you ain't the first, you're like the second or third.
I'm either doing it or the year sucked. That's it. I don't care what else. There's no in between for me.
One thing, I mean, you and I always talk at convention, and I always challenge you, like, dude, let's build this agency more, right?
No doubt.
And last year, you were close to Agency Hall of Fame. Would you guys finish 8 or 9?
Yeah, it was like 9.
Right there, right? Yeah, you're gonna hit it this year.
We're gonna hit it. Yeah, we're gonna hit it.
What are you doing differently now? And also, I mean, let's be transparent. I don't want to say struggle, but why has that not always been, in the forefront? And what have you struggled with from a recruiting, building an agency standpoint? And what have you changed recently?
I think for me, it's always been a little bit of a challenge sometimes to get people going. And I think sometimes I've gotten frustrated when people are not going to like work as hard as me or put in as much as me. And I think, sometimes it's hard to be a great player and a great coach.
Mhm.
Like look at sports, right? How
Sure.
many owner like Michael Jordan, right? Like he's a
Right.
good example. There's a lot of examples, and then that's like the challenge. Like how do you
Yeah.
do both at a high level? And obviously there's time investment. I think where it's starting to click now is over the years, and also social media is a big part of it. There's becoming like a snowball effect where you're doing so much of it and you're putting it out there, and I'm then honing in on trying to get new agents paid, like you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, and having more camaraderie on the team, and then also helping leaders learn how to, help other people grow.
Mhm.
I think all of those things combined is now getting us to another level. And a big piece is social media, because I'm recruiting a good amount of people from social media
Yeah.
that are coming in, and a lot of them want teams. So it just becomes that snowball effect. And it's like anything else in this business. Like when you start doing stuff and you stick with it,
Yeah.
you're going to start like turning a corner
Right.
eventually. You're going to go through your peaks and valleys, and that is what it is.
Mhm.
But you just kind of keep putting it out there.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something, Steve, that we told Sean a long time ago. You ain't going to find Steve.
Right.
You're not like,
right, correct.
And I'm joking, but I remember we were, this was way before FFL, and we are looking at like, direct recruits and all that. And Sean's like, dude, we need more producers. Like you need to find people like me. And I remember Precious was like, well, where are they, Sean?
Yeah.
And he kind of stopped. He's like, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to find you. And if you do, great.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that you can't build a profitable agency. And everybody's needs are different. Not everybody needs to go sell 1.4 million.
Right.
But it's awesome seeing it now. And to your point, it kind of goes back to early, the social media stuff, right? Like, oh, my first 2 videos didn't do well. Okay, well, why don't you post like 100?
Yeah.
Spread them out. But let's do this for 90 days before we start judging our results, right? And then let's check the results. Let's do it for another 90 days. Keep that snowball effect. And because the numbers that you have almost recruit them for themselves, right?
Yes. That's helped big time.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So you're definitely going to hit Agency Hall of Fame this year.
Definitely.
And what keeps you motivated? Now, I know this year you have these goals, right? Personal, agency, annuity Hall of Fame, but selling 10 million in insurance over the last like 7 years, a lot of production, a lot of sales, a lot of money. What keeps you motivated? Like, what's your why now?
I think it's buying the time back. Like I've seen in working virtually, I can work my day. I can set my schedule. Let's say like on Monday, Thursday, I try to be done by 6 or so. And then I can sit down and build Legos with my kids. And I'm getting really freaking good at Legos. Okay? I gotta just tell you, if you think I'm good at insurance, I'm now going to be a master Lego person.
Love it.
I think now you're starting to turn a corner. I'm still working plenty and working hard and all that stuff, and that's not going to like change tomorrow. But I think it's evolving. I have 2 young kids, 3 and 5. One's going to be 4.
Yeah,
and it's that turn of the corner where you're getting more time back now.
Mm-hmm.
As a team is growing and like things are a little bit more streamlined than they were 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Sure.
I think that's kind of like a motivation. But again, we're still, as a company, as an agency, personally, we haven't arrived. I mean, like there's still more to do. And I think you should always be striving to do more.
Yeah.
You just should. Now, again, you have to enjoy your life, and everything has to have balance somewhat.
Right.
We were very imbalanced, right, when we started the company.
Absolutely.
And now all the fruits of the labor, however many years later, has really come to fruition. And I feel the same way personally and with my business.
Sure. I like how you said it, kind of earn, buy your freedom back. Like you're going to have to sacrifice for a few years to get to where you want to get to. The beauty of it, though, it's not, you don't have to sacrifice for 15, 20 years.
No.
Like your kids are still young.
Yeah.
So the years where you sacrificed a lot, they ain't going to remember that shit anyways. They're a
Correct.
year old.
Correct.
Like when my first daughter was born, Carmela, the first year, you could have picked her up and she wouldn't know the difference between me and you.
Yeah.
Because I was working 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
But I don't have to do that now, and she's 14.
Yeah.
It's different. But sacrifice, like, I think, but my kids are going to miss that. No, you're worried about you.
Yeah.
Your kids will be fine. do that for a few years, and then earn that back. And again, like you said, it's not like you're going to, not work, but working 40, 50 hours a week gives you that balance to where you can go build. And some of those Lego sets take a while, dude.
Oh, dude, I did a Batmobile so far.
Nice.
The old school one.
Yep.
I got to go home and do the new Batmobile.
Yep.
I got to do an Iron Man. Like, we got a lot of stuff to do. Like, so this is serious.
I hear that, and I'm like, I went through the same thing with my kids a few years. Well, shit, now it's probably been 10 years ago. But when they were about the same age, we did the Star Wars Legos. I remember one day I was just like walking through Walmart. I hate Walmart. And I happened to just walk by this aisle, and they had this big Star Destroyer. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy this. Brought it home, and we went on this. Now, here's what you have to figure out. What are you going to do with all of them? When
yes, correct.
Dude, I got a box in my basement that's probably half the size of this table that has probably a dozen of these Lego sets in there. And I'm like, I don't want to get rid of them because we built them.
Right.
I had them on a shelf in my living room for a little bit. And I'm like, this is tacky as shit. So I got rid of that. Like, what? I don't know. There's in a box. But so you're going to have to solve that. When you solve that, let me know.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's talk about the fun stuff. Like, you've made a lot of money with us. Probably spent it on some fun things, maybe some dumb things.
Yeah.
What's the dumbest thing you spent money on?
Wrestling belts.
Okay. All right. How many you got now?
God, I gotta have 10 or 12,
Really?
maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your favorite one?
Winged Eagle, original.
The original one.
Winged
Okay.
Eagle.
That's nice. I'm starting because I have a spot in my basement now. I got a podcast set up. I got these glass shelves, and mine's mostly comic book stuff. But I'm like, dude, I need to start getting some belts. But I don't know what. But it's like, I'm thinking kind of ahead, like if I buy one, I'm going to be like you with like 10 of these. Like, where do you stop?
Because I get the Winged Eagle, and then I'm like, well, I need the tag team title from that era.
Absolutely.
And now I'm like, I don't have the Intercontinental from that era.
Oh, man.
And now it's like, do you go the white back, the yellow back, the black one? Like, there's just so much to
back,
it.
Dude.
You got to go white back.
You got a white back.
That's the.
And then you got what's the one right after the Winged Eagle? The Big Eagle or whatever.
I have that one. Yeah,
That's
the big
great.
blue, the one that Stone Cold had first.
You
That's
got the
a good
Smoking
one.
Skull one?
That I don't have.
Okay.
That's a cool one. See,
that's where I'm stuck now. Those three, I'm like, I don't know which one to start with because those are like three of my favorite. But then your point, you get the European. There's so many.
Yeah. Now they're making ones for like everybody's like achievements, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many, dude. And they're like a couple $100 a piece at least, Yeah. What's the best thing you've done with your money?
Best thing was being able to have my wife be home to homeschool our kids.
Yeah.
And seeing her be able to have that time with them, relationship with them. She's amazing with them. So shout out to Margot.
Yeah.
That is by far and away more gratifying than anything.
Absolutely.
Because, look, we live in a crazy world, crazy times.
Sure.
You can say what you want about the school system and politics and whatever. Her being able to homeschool them, teach them, and have that time with them and see the genuine joy that she has, that to me by far and away blows anything else away.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, dude, it's been a hell of a journey, and we're just getting started. But I appreciate, and we all do appreciate what you're doing, what you have done. You've been a trailblazer for us. You've been that kind of definition of, what an agent should do. And you also, I remember early on, because you were one of the first ones to start selling at this level. And you'd hear chatter like, well, is it all good business? I mean, rightfully so. Yeah, we didn't know. First year guys selling $1 million, like, yo, someone check that business.
Yeah, no doubt. I would too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like, you get a guy doing this thing.
100%. I'm calling carriers.
Correct.
Like, what is this dude doing?
Yep. But last thing, what do you think has been integral to having a good quality? Because you do. Good placement, good persistency. Was it something in your sales process, his overall mentality? Like, what do you think has helped you have quality business over the years?
I think the hospitality aspect that I struggled with in the appointment early on helped me in the back end.
The back end, yeah.
Because, and here's really what I tell people, and this drives me nuts. Whenever you call a lead and it's a business owner, right? And you get the voicemail. The initial thing in my head is, that's not a successful business owner because he doesn't answer his phone. So my thing is always answer your phone for your clients. And again, I have a lot of phone calls.
Yeah.
Lots. But I'm always accessible. And I think that goes a long way because you can damage control. You can talk people off the ledge. You can you're there for people.
Right.
And they appreciate it. Even if they don't say it, even if they're yelling at you, mad at you, whatever, they appreciate the fact that you answered the phone for them for whatever it was their issue.
Yeah.
To me, that has made the biggest difference, and kind of just retention in general.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Be the customer service on the back end, because they're not your customer until you sell a policy.
Correct.
Right? They're a potential client.
Yep.
So why are we acting like we're in customer service on the front end, but on the back end? I think that is a piece that I think a lot of people are missing. It's not
answer your phone.
Yeah.
For people.
Yep.
You know, and then you're not going to get backdoored all day by another agent. They're going to say, well, this guy answers his phone.
Right.
Like when I need him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, dude, thanks again. Congrats on 10 million. That's awesome. I mean, it's insane. Even you were shocked. Like, that's a lot of insurance.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of, but the best part, a lot of insurance, yes. But think about how many clients you've protected in less than 10 years. I mean, it's insane.
And it's funny you say it. I've had probably in the last 2 months 10 death claims.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. From those early years.
Yeah.
You know?
It's crazy, dude. I mean, I haven't sold in 5 years, and every once in a while I'm like, dude, this is insane. But that 10 million is, I mean, I don't know the math on that, what your average premium is, but that is a lot of clients that have insurance now that didn't before.
No doubt.
At the end of the day, that's why we do what we do. Yes, the money's great. Yes, the championship belts are great.
Yeah.
You know, both the ones you bought and the ones we've given you.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, these are people that most of them did not have insurance, or they were underinsured, or they had a bad policy, and now they're in a better spot. And when something does happen to them, their families are taken care of because of, you know, what you've done over the past, 7-8 years. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Also, fflconvention.com now. Get your tickets for next year. That's the other thing, Steve. You're the #1 producer, but you watch the trainings. You go to all the events. Not just to train. You go train, but you also go. I see you there taking notes, asking questions, and you're like, why is the #1 guy asking questions? Well, because we all can always get better.
That's right.
I mean, you pick up something at every event, right?
Everyone.
What's the biggest thing you picked up at this past event?
This year was actually a lot of the AI stuff that some people were doing.
Yeah.
And some of the leads, how they were coordinating with the leads. Because it's like we play a lead game all the time. It's like, let's figure out what's the latest and greatest.
Absolutely.
And then I just say, building relationships with people.
Sure.
With our carriers. If you're not building a relationship with your carrier reps and thinking they're not going to be able to help you when you need help, well, like, you're crazy.
Absolutely. Cool. Love it. Well, thanks again. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week right here on True Talk.